Mr. Baldwin, can I get you anything?
No, thank you, darling.
A stranger's face in a London street. James Baldwin, American from Harlem. At 38 and 6 books, he's spoken eloquently for his people. Baldwin writes with the compassion that suffering engenders, but also with the poise and shrewdness of a professional. Thank you. Baldwin explores the pain of his countrymen with a kind of inquiring apprehensiveness. Paris, I have not been in years. Do you speak French?
Not today.
In his books, he doesn't show much of his own gaiety. He takes the weary stance of a man who won't be deceived, who knows that he can't afford to be if he's to get his work done. 3 novels, Like Another Country, and the passionate polemical essays that form the testament of a writer. This Negro writer.
No. I never really known what that meant. I'm a writer. And I know I'm a Negro, which is an interesting term too. Comes from the Spanish word for black. I'm an American Negro, but that means that that's a title or label or a way of defining a person which is imposed on one from above. I'm an American Negro in the eyes of the American Republic. Now later on, of course, it's become an American Negro in my own eyes, which is a very different matter. I don't think one can be labeled ultimately this way. When I say I'm not a Negro writer, I don't mean that I'm ashamed to be a Negro, afraid to be a Negro, any of that. I mean there's a level of experience beneath that, which in turn operates to obliterate.
Well, it seems to me that you've struggled in your novels. You've struggled to be able to see white characters and to put them across in the book and feel like a white man.
Well, what it comes to is not, what you say is quite true. What it comes to is that, in any case of my own framework and the framework of the American Republic, again, the reason that being a Negro is such a peculiarly loaded term, it is a term used by the Republic designed to prove that you're not quite a part of it. And in fact, for any black man born in America, you're terribly involved with white people, whether you like it or not, or whether or not you love them, which is on another level relevant. But in fact, that is where you lived and you know a great deal about them.
Well, in a way, that's a marvelous position for a novelist. In a way, you're far better equipped to write about the white people than they are about themselves.
I think that's true. At least for the time being, I think that's true.
Now, you're a novelist in a way with a message, and perhaps you don't mean to be, but there is a kind of implicit plea in all of your books, in each of your 3 novels, for instance.
Yes, what do you think the plea is?
Well, in 𝐁𝐻 on the Mountain, there is a kind of plea to understand and care more for the Negro in the States. And in Giovanni's Room, there's a kind of plea to treat homosexuals with more understanding. And in Another Country, there is a kind of plea for people of different races to know each other better.
Actually, I think that, if I'm a novelist with a message, it's only one. Probably, I suspect that every novelist has just one message. In all 3 of those books, it seems to me the preoccupation is almost exactly the same. That would be the effort one has got to make, according to me. A very dangerous effort one has got to make. To deal with other people as though they were simply human beings. To remember that no matter what the details of their lives may be like, or how different from you they may seem superficially, or what the social pressures are outside of what the psychological pressures are within, to deal with them in some way the way you want them to deal with you. And no matter what price, from my point of view, no label, no slogan, no body, and no skin color.
Yes.
And indeed, no religion is more important than the human being.
To kind of search out the human core.
Well, the human core in everybody, liberates. One can do it, liberates you. It liberates me. Because when the chips are down, that's all there is. There isn't anything else.
But you put Negroes very much apart. Isn't that dangerous? You write, I think in one of your essays, you write about the long, hard winter of life that a young Negro faces. A long, hard winter, but doesn't everybody else have to face it too?
Well, first of all, I don't think that's I who put Negroes apart or separate them. It's the assumptions and the fact of the power of the white world which does that.
Right.
The long, hard winter of life refers to any Negro adolescent in my own country, and probably in yours, looking ahead at his future, which can only look from that vantage point if you're from your 14, like an extremely long, hard winter. And the symbols and the details of the Negro's life are such to make him think, for a very long time believe, that he is limited to exactly what the white world says he is.
This is the kind of thing that can do terrible damage to a young writer's talent, yes? Now, do you remember there's a line of Yeats that says, I think, too much suffering can make a stone of the heart. Is this a danger?
That's a very great danger. That's not a danger which is limited to Negro writers. It's a danger which is limited to human beings. A great many people do suffer to such an extent that their heart turns into a stone. Not only because they're black. Though I know Negro boys in Harlem, and Negro women in Harlem, and Negro men in Harlem, to whom that's certainly true, who in some way have been totally defeated by it. But it's also true for most white people. For example, in Mississippi, and a certain other kind of suffering, which is unadmitted, and therefore worse, have made a stone of their hearts. It seems to me that the whole effort is not to avoid suffering, or the inevitable deformations which one encounters in a life, but to use them. To use one's suffering to understand the suffering of other people. To understand that though you have lost some things because you were born where you were born and when you were born, because of who you became, you gained some other things. It's that lesson, I think, to look back and wish it happened different. You gotta make the most precisely of what it is.
Right.
Those two things in particular, you know.
Yeah.
Yet there's something, you know.
So your cigarettes, Mr. Baldwin.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.